Hello everyone, my name is Alvin and today I will be analyzing a descriptive composition. The following excerpt is taken from the Road from Coorain, an Australian memoir written by Jill Ker Conway. Let me start off by explaining my illustration. As you can see, the color of the land is mostly orange and red at the edges. The color orange represents the sands while red represents the edges of the sand. There are some plants at the desert, as the excerpt tells us that the writer went outside to collect some woods. To complete the details, I added some stones and of course the dust storm. And now, let us dig deeper to the excerpt and analyze it. The shape of the description is spatial, top to bottom. The writer uses spatial as a technique of describing the event. He started off by saying that there was a vast boiling cloud mounting in the sky. Then, he looked down to the black and sulphurous yellow at the heart, which is referring to the sun, and then varying shades of oak red at the edges. Not only does the writer uses spatial top to bottom as one of the shape of the description, he also uses spatial center to outside. The examples include, I walked out to collect wood for the stove. Glancing towards the west, I saw a terrifying sight. The effect of the shape on my mental image of the topic reminded me of the Sahara Desert, where only camels and sulphurous yellow sands that can be seen. It is a plain sight with a twist. In the midst of silence, I pictured the dust storm coming to my direction, and it forms a towering and gigantic granules of dust that reminds me of a tsunami wave. Afterwards, it's an empty scene of sand and a storm. The topic of the excerpt is about Jill's, or the writer's, experience on one sweltering late afternoon in March, as he walked outside and spotted a terrible dust storm out of the central Australian desert. The writer describes the topic using his sensory details, or also known as imagery. The examples include black and sulphurous yellow at heart, in which he is referring to the ground covered with yellow sand, and black represent the stones. He also added varying shades of oak red at the edges, which refers to the earthy pigment containing ferric oxide varying from light yellow to brown or red. He also described the clouds and the sky as the air was utterly still, and no wreathing cloud, which means the air had no movement, while the clouds are moving squirmingly, or also known as twistingly. The topic, which is the first terrible dust storm that arrived boiling out of the central Australian desert, was compared to the vast boiling cloud that mounted the sky, in which the clouds are unusually extended, large in size and number, and is in a boundless space. He also compared the topic to the black and sulphurous yellow at heart. The term sulphurous tells us that the sand has been intoxicated with the chemical element sulfur. And last but not least, the writer also compared the topic with varying shades of oak red at the edges. The term oak red and the edges gives us clue that the area that is closer to the dust storm has been contaminated with ferric oxide, and the color is varying from light yellow to brown or red. In conclusion, the topics that are being compared are referring to the important elements of the scene that are expressed by the writer by using vocabulary. Imagery was effectively used by the writer because, first of all, without imagery, I couldn't have drawn an illustration of what the situation was like and have no picture or idea how bad the dust storm was. In the excerpt, the writer put details such as the color of the sand, which is black and sulphurous yellow, the action of the sky and the clouds, in which the air was utterly still, but the wreathing clouds was approaching silently and with great speed, and the events that happened during the dust storm, which includes suddenly I noticed that there were no birds to be seen or heard. These are all the examples of imagery being used by the writer. Thank you everyone for listening and hope you have a great day.